Bayer was Management International, the founding partner of CDC Government Relations, and as Tom mentioned, we're a political consultancy in Central Europe, advising a number of leading Western multinationals operating within the region, active in a number of sectors, including energy, defense, IT, and our partner agency, Versa Master, has recently won a contract with the Polish government to represent Poland, promote the Polish presidency of the European Union in the second half of this year. Very pleased to be here.
Hello, my name is Robert Seges. I represent governmental agency responsible for attracting foreign investment into Poland. This presently means at this conference we are also representing one of the Polish regions, the macro region of Eastern Poland. And as a governmental agency, we try to promote not only the inflow of foreign direct investment to this particular region, but also we try to stimulate the process of becoming international by the companies from this region. Thank you.
I'll just say a few words about Poland to set the scene, and then I would turn it over to our panelists. Poland, there's a lot of talk about the crisis. Technically, Poland didn't have a crisis. It never went into a negative GDP numbers at all during the last few years, and was only one in Europe to do that, so very exceptional. I think it reflects a really deeply balanced economy among many different sectors, as well as a lot of foreign and direct investment that's come in the country over the last 10 to 20 years, really. There's also the EU integration has been substantial and important to the country. So it's really a balanced and healthy economy, in my opinion. But I want to go directly to panelists and Mr. Marcinkiewicz and talk a bit about some of the sectors and some of the particular trends that are happening right now that are relevant to today's investors.
Thank you very much. It is easy to say that the energy sector is a key sector for country development. I would like to look closer at energy, as it is one of the main cornerstones of economy. Development of energy is very significant for all countries. I remember, I think that we all remember, then after energy crisis, the 1960s, France built dozens of nuclear power plants because France wanted to be independent, wanted to have self-reliance. When I was a Prime Minister in Poland 5 years ago, my government created 4 big and medium-sized energy companies. We connected hundreds small and medium-sized distribution and production company for 2 holdings. PGE, the biggest one, Tauron, Energa, and Enea. Polish Minister of State Treasury has started a privatization process of those holdings. And only the biggest one, PGE, is under state control. And PGE is a very good factor for this company, have started building a nuclear power plant in Poland, first one. Other 3 holdings will be sold. The whole privatization program in Poland is very interesting for investors, especially for foreign investors. Apart from energy sector privatization, the chemical sector will be privatized this and next year. Last year, Polish Minister of State Treasury reached over $8 billion income from privatization. This year, I think that the minister reached maybe $6 billion. The process of privatization has also started for oil company, Lotos. This privatization is interesting, especially because Lotos has invested 10 billion Polish zloty, it is like over 3 billion US dollars, in the refinery for the last few years. Even more interesting is the situation of gas sector in Poland. State-owned PGNiG is searching cooperation with other companies, particularly in exploration of slave gas. Poland is the leader in Europe when it comes to slave gas sources. This is a big potential for our country. We can and need to create big regional holdings, for example, in main sectors: energy, finance, chemical, agriculture, construction sectors. Look at oil companies in CE countries. MOL and PKN Orlen and PGNiG is and the fastest growing stock in Europe. 2 weeks ago, there was 20th anniversary of Warsaw Stock Exchange. Capitalization has gone over 1 trillion Polish zloty. It is about 350 billion US dollars. And over 400 firms, in which there are more and more foreign companies, especially from Hungary, Czech Republic and Ukraine. Our aim is to create a real financial center in Warsaw for all regions. Let's see that it's happening now. The biggest investment banks and funds operate now in Poland and our CE countries. Tomorrow, I'm flying back to Warsaw because Goldman Sachs will officially open their office there. I think it is good prognostic for Poland and for Warsaw as economic center in CE.
Thank you. In fact, there have been more listings on the Warsaw Stock Exchange this year than in London. So it's #1 in Europe, which is surprising for new listings this year. Marek, I asked you to speak a bit about the European Union because of the backdrop of a balanced economy and a strong regulatory framework is the membership of the European Union several years ago. I think that impact cannot be exaggerated.
Well, indeed. Well, thank you very much, Tom. I think when people ask the question, why invest in Poland, why trust Poland, I think the membership of the European Union since 2004 is absolutely key. Because what it's done for Poland is provided Poland a measure of economic and political security, and of course military security is a major issue. But nonetheless, the membership of the European Club has been a key factor in making people more confident about investing in Poland. And as we move forward, I think that's a trend which will continue. Poland is making a lot of effort under the current government of Prime Minister Tusk, the newly elected president 8 months ago, Władysław Komorowski, to be a genuine European player. In other words, working with Europe, working with Brussels, working with its closest neighbours such as Germany, France, even Russia to an extent, to present itself as a top table player in Europe, a country that one can be confident is going to follow the European rules that govern foreign investment. And as we move forward, this year is very important for Poland, because as of the 1st of July, Poland will take over the presidency of the European Union. And I'm sure all of you are very familiar with how that mechanism operates. Poland will, for 6 months, coordinate the work of the 27 member states of the EU. And how Poland conducts itself during that 6 months will be very important, again, not only in deepening the perception of Poland as a genuine, mature European country, but also, I think, Poland's influence will have a dramatic impact, potentially, on the future development of Europe, and in particular the path of economic activity in Central Europe. And I'll just spend just a few minutes to explain why that's the case. The Polish government over the last few months has developed 4 or 5 key priorities that it wants to see being the hallmark of its presidency. Now, 1 or 2 of those don't really have much to do with economic policy. They involve a deepening of the relationship between the European Union and NATO on the military cooperation side. There are also important policy initiatives on extending the relationship between the European Union and Poland's eastern neighbours, such as the Caucasus states, Ukraine, Moldova, and so on. But much more important is the role that Poland will have over the next 6 months in shaping the future of European policy towards the Central European region, particularly in the area of infrastructure. Now, there is a major debate in Brussels right now about the future shape of the EU budget and also the place within that budget of infrastructure investments. And from the perspective of potential investors in Central Europe, capital funds or equity funds, this is very important because over the last 5 to 6 years, there have been tremendous flows into Central Europe from Brussels to finance key infrastructure projects, particularly in road construction, rail, and in energy as well. And this has driven key infrastructure projects in road construction and infrastructure construction that have been opportunities for other players to come in and participate in those construction projects. And the future policy of the European Union will be very important in deciding whether or not that flow of funds will continue. Now, this is a discussion which will take place this year, in fact, in July, near Gdansk, for the summit of the 27 finance ministers to discuss these issues. But if the decision of the European Union is positive, and that in the next budgetary cycle, from 2014 to 2020, that these flow of funds will continue, this means that the infrastructure projects in Poland will move forward at a very dramatic pace. And that is an opportunity for construction companies, design companies, project management consultancies to come in and manage those initiatives. Now, if things go the other way, and if the European Union decides that that money will have to be diverted elsewhere, that actually brings up the opportunity for equity funds to come in, because Poland, being faced with a capital squeeze, will be forced to look for finance for its projects, not from the European Union, but to other sources. And I think this is a tremendous opportunity for funds, particularly from the Middle East, to come in and start to see whether or not these projects can be financed. Now, Prime Minister Marcinkiewicz has already focused a lot on the energy sector, which is another key priority of the Polish presidency, of course, in terms of setting the regulatory environment. But it's also important to note that Poland is in the forefront of European countries arguing for a diversification of energy sources coming into Central Europe. Poland has made a major investment in its northern seaport of Świnoujście to build a liquefied natural gas facility, which is opening up the prospect of long-term gas supply contracts of LNG to Poland. There's already a 2 BCM, billion cubic meter per annum contract signed with Qatar. That will probably expand in the next few years as well. So supply of energy, and also Poland looking to see if it can find investors to develop shale gas, as the Prime Minister said, and also in the nuclear sector. There is a very positive effort by Poland to promote nuclear energy at home. So those 2 key areas, I think, are Polish priority: infrastructure funding and energy, taken together provide a very interesting combination of opportunities for Middle Eastern financing to come and participate in that. Now, the third area, where I think just to close off, I think it's very important to realize, is Poland's absolute determination to pursue very rigorous economic policies in terms of making sure that Poland doesn't make the same mistakes that other countries did in the region in terms of how to respond to the financial crisis and so on. And the European Union actually plays a very important role in this. There is a dialogue currently, I think that's the right way to put it, between the Polish Finance Ministry and the chairman of the European Commission, Mr. Barroso, about designing a path for Poland reducing its annual budget deficit from the current 8% per annum back to the Maastricht criteria of 3%, because Poland's long-term goal is to join the EU. And that involves meeting very strict targets on inflation, interest rates, and budget deficits. And Poland, under the current government, is very determined. In fact, the new budget, which was voted through by the government last week, for 2012, is the first step to start reducing the Polish budget deficit and also the debt to GDP ratio to much more sensible levels. And that means that Poland, over the next 4 to 5 years, will be economically stable. So I think the European Union has a very important role to play in stabilizing Poland. Poland wants to be a European player. And those 2 things taken together means that there is both opportunity for foreign investment, particularly in the energy infrastructure areas, but also security that the economy in the long run will not destroy those very sensible investment decisions which always do need to be made.
The other thing I would add is infrastructure is being driven as well by next year's Euro 2012 football championship, so that's given some urgency to the infrastructure development as well. Generally speaking, another trend is the government realizing that it should not be in business, and it's continuing to privatize companies and property, etc. So that would be a nice segue into Mr. Mihalski from the Military Property Agency, who will talk about that as well as
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to present you our company and our big opportunity to make fantastic business in Poland, in real estate. Okay, I represent the state-owned company. Our target is to sell not any more used real estate by military and not any used equipment also. We earn money for our army, and 93% of our income we destinate to the modernization fund. We operate already 15 years. We have very transparent procedure, high-level standards, and of course the civilian culture of doing business, not military culture. This is very important. Every year we are preparing more and more real estate for sales. Practically in our hands is 7,000 hectares, 2,700 buildings. The market value of the whole real estate is around $0.6 billion. It is the really big opportunity for a business. We generally sell those real estates by public auctions. Sorry. You know how to buy the real estate in our agency. Every real estate is, we use the tendering procedures, not tendering procedures, and also rent or lease. If foreign citizens like to buy or acquire real estate from our agency, shall prior to accepting the tendering procedure deliver a promise issued by the Minister of the Interior and Administration. Prior to sign the agreement, transfer to ownership or property rights to the real property acquired, a permit for the acquisition for such property. For a European country, this is not valid. Let's say this is much more simple procedure. You know, in our portfolio we have very special and attractive real estates. For example, in Wrocław, this is the very nice Polish city, not far away from Berlin and the German border, practically 100 kilometers. We have 12 hectares in the heart of the city, so-called Kępa Mieszczańska. We have the Modlin Citadel. This is something like 20 kilometers from Warsaw. This is very old fortress. It's the longest building in Europe, 2.2 kilometers. I will show you later in details. We have in Warsaw, Śląska Poręba, and also in Pilisława. As I mentioned before, we have in Wrocław, this Kępa Mieszczańska. This is total 12 hectares. Very attractive place, 500 meters from the old town, practically. This is the visualization of potential way of use. It's feasible to build high buildings, also the apartments, office, culture center. Already mentioned, Modlin Citadel is very unique in Europe and is only 3 kilometers from the airport and 30 kilometers from Warsaw. It's very attractive price for this real estate and also very big opportunity to create a good business. This is also the possible visualization what potential investor can do. You can see. You can turn this place into magic place. Also we have in Warsaw very attractive real estate, practically 5.5 hectares in Praga. Also the price is very attractive because the potential investor will achieve the discount 50% because this is the old building. All the same is for Modlin, that I mentioned before. We have also very attractive place in Śląska Poręba. This place is in the mountains and very good for recreational property. We have also the real estates in our very magic place in Poland. This is the Hel Peninsula. You can also buy and invest in this place. Kuracyjna Street. Okay, thank you very much. We have also much more real estates in our portfolio. I invite you to invest in Poland and to visit our store.
Okay, well, by the way, if you have questions and opinions, please speak up whenever you like. It's better to do a bit more informally. Mr. Zegas, please, from the Poland Foreign Investment Promotion Agency, also has a few slides as well.
Thanks a lot. Starting with the presentation. The former speakers talked about different sectors which are very important and very interesting for the potential foreign investors. I want to add that not only infrastructure, not only, for example, sector connected with the energy are very important and very interesting for the potential foreign investors. Poland became, in the last years, one of the largest producers of household supplies, for example. We are the largest or the second largest producers of kitchen ovens, refrigerators. We are definitely the largest European producers of TV sets, thanks to the activity of foreign companies. 75% of TV sets are produced in Poland. 75% of those TV sets which are sold in Europe. Poland is definitely one of the largest countries in Europe, the sixth largest country in terms of area and in terms of population. It was also mentioned that one of the most important factors for attracting foreign direct investment into Poland, this is the stable economy. Stable economy means also that during even the world economic crisis, still maintain the positive growth of GDP. Of course, not at the level of a few percent, but at the level of 1.8% per year. But still, it was very important positive growth as one of the few countries in the world, as I said, in the year of economic crisis. What are the most competitive advantages of Poland? First of all, location and the economic, let's say, result obtained by the Polish economy. Labor force, it's very important to say that we can provide very young, well-skilled labor force. Very young, which is completely different situation than in the Western countries, which are faced the problem of aging society. And of course, as a third competitive advantage, this is investment incentive system, consisting of, first of all, tax exemption in the 14 special economic zones, and grants, cash grants, provided by the Polish government and European funds, companies. This is the information about, let's say, evaluation of Poland by UNCTAD, the World Investment Report, and also by the AT Kearney, in which, in this ranking, Poland was ranked at the 6th position among the top or leading destination for the future foreign direct investment in the world. I mentioned also that one of the positive situations is connected in Poland, and the positive changes of economy in Poland is connected with the activity of foreign companies in Poland. Altogether, since the beginning of our economic and political reforms in 1989, it means during the last 20 years, Poland was able to attract around 130 billion euro as a foreign direct investment. Even in the times of the world crisis, as you see, Poland was able to obtain around 10 billion euro per year. In the last year, 2010, the inflow was around 7.5 billion, which is of course less a little bit than in the year 2009, but this year will be much better in terms of inflow of foreign direct investment into Poland. Majority of this investment, of course, is coming from EU, around 86%, but of course it's necessary to stress that non-European investors are coming mainly from USA, Japan, South Korea, India, mainly from Asian countries. So there is a very, let's say, big opportunity for also companies and investors from this part of Europe, because at present, at least, Polish investors invested much more money in the Arabian countries than Arabian countries invested in Poland. The difference is something like 3 times. So we think that, for example, this is also a very good situation for the potential investors from this region of the world. I also want to pay your attention to the special region of Poland. It means macro region of eastern Poland, which consists of 5 provinces. What is unique in this macro region? First of all, location. This is the last border of European Union, and from this reason, it's an excellent location from the point of view of activity in European Union, but very close to the eastern countries like Lithuania, like Belarus, Ukraine, and Russia. So you can be safe in terms of, let's say, conducting the business activity, because Poland, of course, provides the same regulations like in each European Union country, but you can be very close to the eastern countries, which can provide you the huge markets for your products and services. In terms of other assets, I also mentioned that this is also a very important asset of the whole Poland, but the situation in terms of, let's say, society of the Eastern Poland, or macro-region of Eastern Poland, is much better than the remaining area of Poland. There are much younger people in this part of Europe, so you can find the potential pool of candidates for work in the foreign companies, having also in mind the knowledge of foreign languages, is much bigger and better than in the other area of Poland. Modern universities, 53 universities only in the macro-region of Eastern Poland, providing much more than 300,000 students and 200,000 students of the secondary vocational school, makes this business climate of macro-region of Eastern Poland very unique from the point of view activity of foreign companies in this macro region. Also, the labor cost is lower than in other area of Poland, and of course much lower comparing with the Western countries or USA. So, border location, positive outlook for road infrastructure development. This particular region, macro region of Eastern Poland, received a lot of money. By the way, thanks to the activity of Prime Minister Marcinkiewicz, a lot of money for development of the infrastructure from EU, highly skilled young workers, lower labor cost, and high level of public support available in the area of macro region of Eastern Poland, create the very unique opportunities for starting the business in this particular region of Poland. Thank you very much for your attention. On the website you can find much more information about Poland and macro region of Eastern Poland, and you can also contact us at the stand of Poland. And the last thing, we invite you for the reception tomorrow, in which you can also speak with the companies present on this meeting, on this annual investment meeting here.